Am I the only one who's getting a bit bored of using the same traps in Piggy? It's getting a little repetitive, so I decided to come up with some new fun traps that should be added to Piggy. Because why not? Okay, so the first trap I came up with was the banana peel trap. Perfect for making players literally slip up. It works by when a player steps on it, they slip and fall on the ground. Of course, because it's a banana peel. But when they slip, they ragdoll on the ground for like 3 seconds before getting back up. But the thing about this trap is when after the player steps on it, it doesn't despawn right away like most traps do. Instead, it stays in the same spot for around 30 seconds to a minute before disappearing. And here's a demonstration on how it will work. Have you ever placed down a trap and players just easily jump over it to avoid it? Well, since we can't jump and place traps anymore like we used to, I came up with the floating trap. A trap that's impossible to jump over or crouch under. Now the floating trap works like any other trap. Step on it, stuns the player for a few seconds, then it despawns. But the thing is, it's impossible for players to jump over. The only downside is that it's about the same size as the small trap, so it wouldn't really do well in wide or open maps like Carnival or Forest, but it'd be really useful in doorways or small hallways. Now the next trap I came up with is the web trap. It's a trap that can stretch across an entire doorway or a hallway, making it harder for players to get through. When a player walks into it, it slows them down as they try to push through the web. The more the player moves, the more the web stretches. And if the web stretches too far, it snaps and disappears. It doesn't stun the player, but it slows them down a bit, giving Piggy a few extra seconds to catch up. This trap would actually be pretty useful for large hallways, like the ones in plant or lab, since the web can stretch all the way across, making it impossible for players to get around unless the player takes a different route or slowly pushes through it. Another cool thing is that it doesn't just affect one player, it slows down anyone who touches it. So like if 3 players walked into the web trap, all 3 of them would slow down, not just one. They'll all get stuck into the web breaks. But there is one way to avoid this trap. If a player uses the sprint ability while walking through the trap, it'll snap instantly, so they won't get slowed down at all, just like how Decoy can counter crawling traps or lone shark traps. The next trap I came up with is the Whirlpool trap. It's a swirling pool of water that randomly moves around the map. It might look a little similar to the tornado trap, but it actually works completely differently. This trap works by when a player steps into it, they start spinning around in circles and move really slow for about 6 seconds. But not only that, the player's screen also goes all dizzy, making it hard to see where they're going. And the Whirlpool trap doesn't just stay in one spot either. It actually moves around the map, spinning in random directions, which can totally catch players off guard. Next up is the sticky trap. It's a big puddle of sticky blue gunk. The sticky trap works by slowing players down when they step into it, and the player can't even jump when they're stuck in it. And just like the banana peel trap, it doesn't disappear right away when the player steps into it. It stays there until its duration runs out. But here's something cool. If 2 sticky traps are placed close to each other, they actually merge into a bigger puddle of gunk, making it even harder for players to get through. And it doesn't just affect one player either. If 2 players walk into it, both of them get slowed down. Next is the Decaying infected trap. It's a trap where 2 decaying infecteds chase players around the map. It's kinda like the tombstone trap, but works a little differently. This trap works by when Piggy places it down, it spawns a dirt pile with the decaying infected arm sticking out of it. When a player steps on the dirt pile, 2 random decaying infecteds emerge from the ground and start chasing players around the map. The downside is that they're kinda slow. But if they manage to catch a player, it doesn't kill them instantly like the tombstone trap. Instead, it slows them down and takes away about 25% of their health, just like the ones from the Decay chapter. And if a player gets hit 4 times by the decaying infected, they'll die from health loss. And after about 35 seconds, the decaying infecteds dig back into the ground and disappear. Next is the Taze trap. It's a small metal stand with an electric orb that emits energy around it. This trap works by tasing players who get too close, electrocuting them for about 2 seconds. The range isn't too big, but it's not too small either, so if the player walks a little too close, they'll get zapped. This trap also stays active until its 45 to 50 second duration runs out. It's great for placing in big or main rooms where players usually run through, and there's actually a way to destroy this trap too. If the player shoots it with the Glock or crossbow, the orb will shatter, releasing all of its electric energy and disabling the trap. The next trap is the Flashbang trap. It's a trap that releases a bright, blinding fog that spreads across a large area, making it hard for players to see where they're going. This trap works by when Piggy places it down. After about 2 seconds, the flashbang goes off, releasing a burst of white, bright fog that spreads across a large area. It blinds players, making it hard for them to see. But from Piggy's point of view, they can see through the fog just fine. This gives Piggy an advantage to catch players off guard. It could be useful in big maps with wide open areas. But after about 15 seconds, the flashbang fog fades away. The next trap is Skry. He patrols around the map looking for players and alerts Piggy when he spots someone. Have you ever had a hard time finding players when you're Piggy? Well, that's where the Skry trap comes in. He walks around the map on his own, searching for players. And when he spots someone, he makes this little sound effect and alerts Piggy to their location. The cool thing about this trap is that it doesn't have a duration. It lasts the entire round, but Piggy can only spawn one Skry per match. Players can also stun Skry too. If they shoot him with a weapon, then he'll get stunned for 20 seconds. The next trap is the Ice Staff, a staff that pierces into the ground and begins to glow with icy energy. This trap works when Piggy places it down, it pierces into the ground, and takes about 20 seconds to build up energy. After that, if a player walks near it, the Ice Staff fires a freezing blast that targets the player. Now it's possible for players to outrun the freezing blast, since it's not that fast, but if the player does get hit by it, they'll freeze into an ice block for 3 seconds. After firing, the Ice Staff takes another 20 seconds to charge back up before it can shoot again, and the blast can actually hit multiple players at once. If more than one player gets caught in it, they'll all freeze, not just one. Next is the Bats trap, a black, brown, and white bat that all swarm the nearest player. When Piggy spawns this trap, it summons 3 bats. They immediately start flying toward the nearest player, and since they're really fast, it's difficult to outrun them. Once they catch a player, they'll all swarm around and attack while the player tries to swat them off, giving Piggy time to catch up. After about 5 seconds, the bats fly away. But there is a way to counter this trap. If a player uses the decoy while running from the bats will go after the decoy instead, letting the player get away. And the last trap I came up with is the drone trap. A drone that flies around the map stealing items from players. When Piggy spawns this trap, the drone flies in the air and starts scanning the map for players. If it spots a player holding an item, it swoops down, snatches the item, and flies off, making the item respawn in a random spot or where it was originally found, forcing the players to go back and find it again. But if the drone detects a player without an item, then it just ignores them. This trap can be super useful for when players are about to escape with the last item, or to stop item campers by stealing what they're holding and giving other players a chance to grab it.